Hey TCKs and non-TCKs! Well, welcome to the channel. So I was scrolling through my Facebook feed within the past 48 hours, and I saw that there are a lot of tributes to the Manchester bombing that happened a year ago. If you're not aware of what happened in Manchester, UK, there was a suicide bomber. 22 people were tragically killed in that incident, and over 50 people were injured. You know, for me, I have friends all over the world, and I saw sort of a stark difference between my friend group that I have on Facebook, what they're posting here in America versus what my TCK and international friends were posting. And it was interesting to see the differences in people's global awareness and what people valued. For myself, growing up in Solomon Islands, I had very limited access to, American or European pop culture. I grew up with two TV channels, the BBC and the ABC, British Broadcasting and Australian Broadcasting, and then a little later on Solomon Islands came out with their own news channel. My exposure to TV consisted of news channels. So I was very aware of what was going on in the world around me. And then when I moved to the US, suddenly there are all these other options. TV channels, you just have hundreds and hundreds of them, and it's like, it's kind of overwhelming. Like, no wonder everyone here can value different things outside of just the news, which can be so depressing. It's the reality of the world around us can be so, sickening sometimes that we in first world countries have the opportunity and the ability to close that reality down and to escape into sitcoms, whatever else people watch, sci-fi shows, action adventure. The stark differences between my TCK international friends, what they're posting within the past week or so compared to my current peer group here in the US was really different. And so it kind of grounded me, it kind of reminded me that each of us has our circle of awareness. But I think that in a lot of ways, TCKs sort of have an expanded worldview awareness, or if not awareness, at least at minimum exposure. And I wanted to talk about that because while I personally was not affected by the Manchester suicide bombing, I know that there are more than likely a number of TCKs out there who have been either first-hand, second-hand affected, because TCKs, we are very intricately woven into all corners of the globe. And I wanted to just talk about that, Moving to the US and transitioning was incredibly hard because my personal set of values, okay, let's stay up to date on current times, let's, understand what's going on in the Middle East, let's understand, different areas of the world, was so different to what my peer groups here in the US valued. And it created a lot of, I guess you could say, internal tension. So it was like, oh, these are my values, this is what I grew up with, and then these are yours, and not only is it yours, but it's also sort of like a social common factor that pop culture is going to outweigh news. And so it's like, how do I take myself out of what I value and put myself into a social group that values something that I have absolutely no cares about, and how do I relate to you? And that was something that I struggled with. It's May now, and it's a time of transition for a lot of TCKs. With summertime in the US, a lot of families overseas are coming back to the US for summertime. the travel deputation, furlough, whatever you want to call it. And so this is a time now where a lot of younger TCKs and older TCKs, adult third culture kids, we are in a period of transition, and there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of moving parts, and relating to another TCK, especially during this time, is going to be, you know, huge in helping them to successfully transition back. So if you're a non-TCK and you're watching this, just know that if you do meet a TCK and they've just come back to the US, their ideals and their system of values might be a little bit different from yours. They might not be so much into the pop culture or, you know, the latest, I don't know, what are you guys into these days? But they might be uniquely connected to world events around them. So having a sense of care for that TCK's sense of connectedness to other parts of the world where maybe you don't have, you know, anything to do with it, or you just really don't care. Just sort of identifying with that TCK can be huge in helping them to transition. So keep an eye out for a TCK. We're coming into the summer months. A lot of us are coming back stateside. And hey TCK, if you're out there, we are oddly and awesomely connected to all corners of the globe, and that is a beautiful thing. So if there's something out there in the world that has affected you and it happened in another country, it's okay to hurt and to feel that pain that, you know, your friends might be going through, or that perhaps you experience yourself. And I want you to know that non-TCKs may not understand your connectivity to other regions of the world, but there are people that do, and I hope that you find them. Hey TCK, it's a big little world out there. Let's make it smaller.